have a brother, family member as well from Proudly SA. He's the assistant PR manager, Tshiamo. Please, can you come to the front, my brother? Can we give Tshiamo a round of applause? Come on, let's show some love to Tshiamo from Proudly SA. Brother, good to see you. Over to you.
Dumelang. Good. Is it morning? Still. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you for coming out today. It's not the best of weathers, but you guys decided to take it upon yourselves that today you will invest in yourselves. I think Bulelani said this earlier this morning, Jorge. You guys are going to receive a lot of information today. You're going to make a lot of connections today. There's this saying, Jorge, you can take a horse to the river, but you can't make it drink. All right? You came to the river yourselves, and it's up to you to drink that information. All the information that you're getting today, write it down, think about it, dwell on it tonight, so that come Monday you start and make connections with people. So that come Monday you enter those people, you connect them, you think, oh, okay, how can Tshiamo help me? I might not have that answer today, but I will have it on Monday. So please write down things, make connections, talk to people you don't know during the break. And also thank you to Mr. Balabala, Mr. Get Things Done. Thank you so much, man, for not letting the dream die, believing in township entrepreneurs. A big round of applause to Mr. Balabala. Thank you so much. My comrade used the wrong slide. I was not supposed to be there. I don't know, but it's okay. My name is Tshiamo, as I said. Let's go to the next slide. I am responsible for communications and public relations at Proudly South African now. What Proudly SA is, it's the country's buy local movement, official buy local campaign. And what we do is that we promote and lobby for locally made products and services within the country to different target markets. What those target markets are, it's the public sector, it's the private sector, as well as consumers, and we do it in various ways. And I hope this presentation will sort of give you a better understanding of what it is that we do. Let's go to the next slide, please. All right, so like I said, yeah, we were formed in 2001 as a result of the job summit that was held in the 1990s, I think 1998, by the then president Nelson Mandela, and we were born in 2001, so this year we are turning 21. Next slide. The Proudly SA focus areas, like I mentioned earlier, we focus on different sectors. The first one is the public sector, the private sector, as well as the public, and we also try and make sure that it is easy to find locally made products and locally made services. Those are our focus areas and why we exist. When it comes to the public sector, when they go out, this is government, municipalities, etc., there is a list of designated items that and it is legislated, it is law, that when they go out to tender for a list of these, anything that is on the list of those designated items, from things like clothing, anything in the CTFL sector, clothing, textiles, footwear and leather, they need to buy local. It is a legislation. When they go out to tender, when they put things out on the newspapers and they say, we want to buy linen for the hospitals, we want to buy clothing for the people who are in our correctional services, they need to make sure that they support local. So that is, it's already there, it is already gazetted, it is already law. So what we do, and I'll talk to it in the next slide, is we, and this was pre-COVID, but we do it now, in webinars as well, is that we go to provinces and we remind people who are the people who procure, the procurement officials of this legislation in what we call public procurement events. We also lobby private sectors like Mr. Tapelo and try and encourage them to, whenever it is that they need to buy furniture, when they need to buy any services that they need for, whether it is an event or anything that is happening, that they support you guys, that they support local. Next slide, please. All right, what is the importance of localization? Now, many countries have a buy local movement, and at Proudly South African, we believe that if you increase the demand for local, that means you're increasing the demand for jobs. It is that simple. You increase the demand for local, you're increasing the demand for jobs. Now, we're living in an economy, unfortunately, where there's so many people who are unemployed. We all know someone who is unemployed. Am I right? We all know someone who is unemployed. And what is incumbent upon you and me as consumers, because we all buy something, is that when we make a decision to go buy toothpaste, or we go buy that shoe, or we go buy that suit, and we don't care what is written on the made in the country of origin label, which every product is supposed to have, by the way, then we don't care who we are supporting. Because when we buy things that are made in France and made in China, what we're essentially doing is we're creating jobs in that country. What we're essentially doing is we are contributing to the unemployment. We are contributing to the people that we know that are unemployed. It's because of us. So we need to also, you and I, change our mindsets, change our buying behaviors every time we go and buy something, whether it's something small. And I really implore you from today, even if it's one thing that you change in your buying habits when you go and do your groceries, whether it is a toothpaste, whether it is clothing, just make sure that you buy something that is South African, because you know that you're contributing to job creation within South Africa. Next slide, please. All right, so you guys are very important. Entrepreneurs are very important in any economy, in fact. There are studies that show that at least 90% of enterprises in any economy are SMMEs. We are all about buying local to create jobs. So it is in supporting entrepreneurs and supporting SMMEs that you can create that demand for local jobs. That's that. It says 90% of enterprises in all economies constitute a majority of the country's employment virtually worldwide. The next bullet point says SMEs are the main source of jobs in the business sector across the world. So it is really important for all of us, all sectors, to support SMMEs, even the private sector, because if you are in whatever business that you are in the private sector, and you don't support SMMEs, who are you going to sell to? Who is going to have the money to buy your product? They will not have money if you do not support them. Next slide, please. All right, I spoke to how we deal with the private sector in terms of the public sector procurement forums. There's a few forums that we do in each province. We do webinars as well. At the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic, we started investing a lot in that arm of our communication. Let's go to the next slide, please. These are some of the sectors that sector-specific engagements that we deal with. We have a membership base of over 2,000 proudly South African member companies, and we always make sure that we make webinars, and each of these members have access to events such as these sector-specific engagements that can happen in the form of webinars that are free to access for members of the public. So when you go onto our website, when you go onto the YouTube page, when you want to learn about any of these sectors, then you can find that information there. Next slide, please. One of the reasons I would like to employ SMMEs and entrepreneurs to join the Buy Local movement, to join Proudly South African, is that we always find innovative ways to give you access to different kinds of markets. It's all good and well to have a product, to have an idea, to have a service, but you need a market to sell it to. And it's not always easy, especially when you're starting out, because when you start out a small business, you are the everything of your company. You are the CEO, you're the salesperson, you are the accountant, you're the CFO. Where must you find time? And at Proudly South African, we try and make it easier for you to access some of these financial and non-financial opportunities. We bring the people together in different rooms where we can give you these opportunities or give you this information for you to get back home, to dwell over it, and then to make action on it. This slide talks to the social media, as we have around 200,000 followers on social media. And when you join the Buy Local movement, what we do often is we promote and we profile your organization, and it goes out to all of our followers. We also have a newsletter that goes out to the 2000, so it's a B2B platform that you can take advantage of. So whenever there is an achievement, an award, whenever there is a special or a sale that you're having, then there is that option as well for you to say, hey, Tshiamo, can you put me in the next monthly newsletter so that I can get access to those other businesses who could be my clients? Next slide, please. Just spoke about the newsletter. All right, one of the things we did, and we started about a year or so ago, is that we made the decision to expose young people to different sectors and the jobs value chain that lies within that sector. It's a good thing to learn about certain sectors and certain jobs, but sometimes you don't get to see, go to the next slide, to see what happens in these jobs. So we take students, we take media, because we also need the media to take that information out there, for the media to understand when you buy something that is local, this is the jobs, you know, that you are supporting. I mean, the gentleman from DKNY Lounge mentioned that he's supporting 54, he employs 54 people. That's 54 households. Let's remember that. There's also a multiplier effect. There is what we all know as black tax as well. You know, when we get that SMS that please call me that says, hi, how are you? You know what it really means, you know? So it doesn't mean hi. So we take media and we take students and we get them to, we expose them to what goes on in these different sectors. We've taken them to the CTFL sector, David Tlale Studios, OBC, Seathless Brew. We've taken them to Nissan. We've taken them to different factories and different organizations, so they get an appreciation of what happens when you put your rand in that organization. Next slide, please. Delicious Festival is coming up next. So what we have done in the past, we have, like I said, members in different industries. We have taken our members to what we call the Proudly SA Village at the Delicious Festival. The Delicious Festival is a Proudly SA organization, member organization, and we have an agreement with them that each year we take those people in those sectors so that they can access that market. The 20,000 festival goers that go to the Delicious Festival every year, they are exposed to that. They sell out. And just because they are members of Proudly South African. So this is one of, you know, the many different sector-specific, I mean, this is a lifestyle event, sector-specific events that you will be exposed to when you join the Buy Local movement. Next slide, please. Okay, that's pictures from the Delicious Fest. Expo 2020 Dubai, which did not really happen in 2020 because of COVID-19. We also were partners with Brand South Africa, and we took about 15, if I remember, member or companies to Dubai for them to display their products in Dubai. It also speaks to that access to market, a function that I said we as Proudly South African do. We took them there, and I think it was from October until March this year. And many of them managed to sell to different international and have deals with different international markets as well. Next slide. Local Fashion Police, this is in the CTFL sector. Some of these sectors that we focus on really are because of the master plans that the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition has put together. It is because they are labor-intensive sectors. With the research that the DTIC has done, they saw that some of these sectors, furniture, CTFL sectors, are very labor-intensive, and they have a big job creation value. So the Local Fashion Police is something that we started last week. It is a consumer competition. And what we ask them to do is that we ask them to take a picture of themselves and post it up on the social media, and as well as where they bought it. Something that is made locally, clothing that is made locally, something stylish. And we went to each of these outlets, Plus Fab, David Tlale Pals, Cooper, also members of Proudly South African, and they were the judges of this competition. And each of those winners, at the end of that competition, which was 1 month long, all got 10,000 rands worth of local fashion. So that is another way that we're trying to get consumers to change their buying habits, for them to buy more local. Next slide, please. All right. This was not supposed to be here, but I'm in PR, and we go out of our way to make sure that we give you opportunities within the media space. We have media partnerships in various communities within the country. So if you are in the West End, for example, we've got partnerships with a community radio station there, and every Wednesday they profile one organization. So we try and grow that. It's still starting out, but we try and grow that more and more. We did a partnership with Kaya FM recently for our local wine expo, where we profiled South African winemakers as well. Next slide, please. All right, I want to talk about Proudly SA membership. I've been talking about Proudly SA membership, but the next slide will tell you how it is or what it is that we look at before you can become a member. These are the 4 criteria of becoming a Proudly SA member. The first one is local content. What it means is that whatever it is that you're making or whatever service it is that you're providing, at least 50% of the cost of production must be incurred in South Africa. So it's called putting the money where your mouth is. You cannot call yourself proudly South African when you are buying your raw material from another country. You need to also invest within South Africa. So that's the one thing we look at. The next thing that we look at is high quality. We look at each industry has a quality certification or quality assurance bodies. There's also things like the SABS, etc., and ISOs that accredit and give you quality certification. We want to make sure that when you put the Proudly SA logo on your product, that the consumers there can be rest assured that this is a quality product. It's not going to make me sick. It's not going to take me to hospital. And then we also look at your labor practices and your environmental standards to make sure that you are complying with South Africa's labor practices, that you're not doing anything harmful to the environment as well. That's what we look at as well. And then in terms of how much it costs, people think that it's expensive. It's not really. Next slide, please. It's not expensive. It starts at 500 Rand. So if you're an entrepreneur, if you make less than 5 million Rand turnover, all you pay is 500 Rand a year. So it's an annual fee. You don't pay it monthly, you pay it once a year. And that 500 Rand is really an investment, in yourself, in your business, in your company, an investment in profiling yourself to other organizations, to other individuals. And then SMMEs that make between 5 million and 10 million, their annual fee will be 1,000 Rand, and so it goes in the different tiers of membership. I wanted to play a video. I'm not sure if the sound is connected. Is it connected? No, it's not connected. I think I can make it connect. What I'm going to do, can it play? Just go to the video, please. And hover over it and just click on it. No. It doesn't say thank you. But anyway, thank you so much, guys. My colleagues, Lesego and will be there at the stand if you want to learn more about Proudly SA. I'll also